All right, I'm going to go through a bunch of hang drills here, and these are basically static holds. And the idea is to get into the shoulders and the mobility of the chest and to open things up, get the back side of the body working. Now, the first thing I'm going to hold is shows a straight arm hang, but this is going to be with a pronounced arch. So you can do all these things supported. Now, these rings aren't up very high, so I can easily put my feet on the floor. And if you got the rings or whatever you're hanging on, you can hang from a bar, whatever works best for you here. You can always put a stool up or something that you can stand on so that you can just adjust how much weight you want your arms to take. But what really counts is the engagement around the shoulders and upper back, the shoulder girdle, basically. And that's what we're looking for here more than anything else. So to start, I'm just going to come into that straight arm hang that I was talking about. So I'm hanging completely straight, and my palms are coming in. You can always change the grip. I recommend palms in towards center or forward if you're working on a bar. But once you're hanging, and I'm going to take all the weight off my feet. That's not necessary. You can have the feet down on the floor. But pull the sternum up, bring your shoulders back. And you're trying to pull the shoulder blades in toward each other here, and you're engaging the back line of your body. Now, at first, it's probably not going to be a very pronounced arch. You can always have your feet underneath you to take some weight. See about pulling your chest up. I'm using just a little bit of a press through my toes, and then once I release my toes from the floor, I'm trying to keep on holding it here. And there's a bunch of ways to play around with it like that. You can do it just free hanging, or, again, you can do it supported. I recommend taking this at least toward 30 seconds from here to shot, maybe one time a day. If you want to get hardcore, you can do it for like a minute. Okay, now this hold is going to be slightly different. So this is going to have the rings lower than my shoulders, all right? And so this first one is going to be basically a top position hold. That's what they would call it in gymnastics, all right? If you can, try to rotate your hands out, but you're probably going to have enough trouble to stabilizing yourself. If you haven't done this before, it is surprisingly difficult if you're doing this on rings. It's much easier to do this on bars because the bars don't move, all right? Because you have the rings, you have the extra factor of having to stabilize and pull things into your side as you support your own weight. So coming into this, I've got my hands pressing down. I'm pressing from my shoulders to find the lift. Ideally, you rotate the hands out. Keep the arms pulled in as much as you can, and keep your chest coming forward, all right? And you can hold this. Initially, you'll probably want to have your toes on something, and you can always do the supported. Just take as much weight in your hands as you need, or as you can actually hold on to. You can lean this forward a little bit, but keep the arms straight and try to keep the arms close. Once you've done that for some time, you can start to bring the arms out. It takes a little bit at first, though, and your arms should shake while you're doing this. You're trying to bring your chest forward the whole time. Now, there's two other positions I recommend here with the rings low like this. And another way to come into this is basically you're coming up, but with a bend in the arms, and bringing this toward a 90-degree bend. Now, you want to freeze the arms at that 90-degree bend. Pull your chest forward. Let your weight sink down. And usually I hold this on my toes. This is actually a considerably harder position for me than straight arms. Once in a while, I lift my feet. And again, you're just holding for time and trying to turn your thumbs out at least a little bit and just hold on to your weight. And you're going to feel that differently into the upper part of the chest. Okay, so keep that in mind. So that's about halfway down. So I went from vertical to halfway, and now I'm going to come all the way down with my shoulders at the level of the rings. So this would be like the bottom of a dip position if I was to do dips on the rings. So elbows pulled in. I'm going to sink down low. And basically my shoulders at the level of my hands. Now, you may want to keep the toes down if you haven't done this before, and I recommend that. Open up your chest, look forward at least a little bit. You can always take the weight off your feet. And again, you're just holding this for time in this position. And just play around and see what works best for you here. You may find one of those angles works better than the others, and maybe the other angles don't do a whole lot for you. Maybe you do them all. I work each of these in different increments at different times.